Welcome back, everybody, to Culz Reviews. It's been a while since we've done one outside here in our forest. And once again, this time of year, we're talking alien encounters and History Channel and History's Greatest Mysteries. We're not finishing the Roswell one yet. We still got 2 more parts of that, but today we're actually talking about Season 4, Episode 5, The Phoenix Lights. Now, you guys should understand why. A little bit ago, we did have the interview with Reverend Michael Carter, and he's actually coming back on. We actually found out he was on History's Greatest Mysteries thanks to our previous interview. Which, real quick, let's talk about that, Sam. That was a pretty fun interview, huh?
Yeah,
it was really fun and really cool to talk to someone like Michael Carter. I know when editing the episode for Michael, like just going through, making sure there's no pauses, my daughter actually saw him on like the computer screen and then looked up and saw him on the TV because of History's Greatest Mysteries, and she was like, "Whoa, that's so cool." And that's so cool that we get to talk to someone like that. So this is also a event that we have previously covered on our channel thanks to Alan's experience, as well as a Culz reviews of the footage itself that we did, where we watched the original footage from back in 97, March 13th, 1997, and we talked about it. We spliced in Alan's there, and then we also did a Culz Paranormal personal experiences of the Phoenix Lights, where Alan really candidly just told us his story, what he remembered of that night. And so go check that out. We'll put a link above. I think it was fascinating. But for those of you who don't know what the Phoenix Lights are, it's an event, again, that happened March 13th, 1997, and was seen at least, or probably in 4 U.S. states, being California,
Arizona?
Yeah.
No. Mexico?
California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico. And of course, New Mexico is like, oh, there's Roswell again, right? But what it didn't talk about in this episode was, I'm pretty sure it was actually seen as well in Mexico itself. This is by far the most viewed UFO experience anywhere that we know of, at least in recorded times. We'll go over some of the different explanations, but the original one was really kind of silly. And Matt, do you want to talk, what was the original government explanation of that night?
Flares, yeah, we've all seen flares in movies, Titanic, shit like that. You could even tell from movies that a flare would not be what, the Phoenix Lights were, not even remotely close.
Oh yeah, too small in scale.
Right, and I've actually had the opportunity to see some of these military flares. We were coming back from the sand dunes late at night, so it's probably like midnight. Yeah, so I actually saw some of these flares one time, and at first, yeah, maybe you could briefly think it was these lights, though the lights in the video are far too big. It's pretty clear. Plus, after maybe a minute or so, these lights that were kind of in a line drifted apart in different directions and then fizzled out or kept burning, so I think it would be pretty clear they weren't flares. What this video does well is shows the government's response, which is kind of also laughable, with their press conference. Sam, do you want to talk about how they did their press conference?
So the governor had his assistant come out dressed as an alien.
Yeah, the mocking definitely did not help, and it really probably hurt more witnesses from coming out. Because, like they say in there, they don't want to, come out and be like, yeah, I saw this weird alien spacecraft, and then it just be, flares or, whatever. And so they don't want to look crazy. And so, in the long run, it probably has hurt. I guess now more and more people are coming out. But it's hard to tell how many of those were actually there.
And then I think the governor actually came out himself and talked about the lights flying over. And then even an Air Force Base kind of operator talked about how when the lights appeared, everything went off in the F-16s.
15s or 16s,
Yeah, the F-15s, I believe, is what they were at that time. They had two of them like on the standby for if an event like this happened, and like they were given the clear to like launch and go towards the object.
And that's one of like the intriguing, like not conclusions, but theories now out there, is that maybe the government has actual footage from, the pilots of whatever this craft was.
No, they guaranteed probably do.
If they didn't destroy it.
No, they probably did that.
But, that's definitely intriguing, especially with the size. Like, going back to that, what if it was something unknown to us as far as military crafts? Obviously, this area is well known for military craft testing. A lot of the secret, high technology stealth planes were tested there. But at the same time, Michael Carter brought up the thing that it is far, far too big. You can see it in the lights, like over the city. Like, you can see the little city, like, house lights, and these lights are big. They look bigger than the house lights. Mm-hmm. And so right there, it's got to be bigger than an airplane.
Oh, it's a lot larger than the airplane.
Yeah.
And some people said it was close enough to where they could throw a tennis ball at it and hit it and it would bounce off.
I did like the most 90s kid ever. He was just standing there, like, loose shirt, his hat, and I was like, he looks like he's straight out of the 90s. He's like, yeah, I could have hit it with that tennis ball. Could you just imagine that, like, you're like 90 years old and you're like, come here, Sonny, and you sit your grandson down and you're like, when I was your age, I threw a tennis ball at an alien spacecraft.
And that's how the War of the Worlds started.
And that is what you don't want to do. This is why we're living underground, Sonny. But, yeah, he was like, yeah, I could have hit it. And so, it's flying super slow. At some parts, it's stopped. Mm-hmm. And it's also flying low. So, it's just behaving un-airplane-like. And again, we'll go to...
And it stops and it, like, hovers in the air for, like, a little while.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll go to Sam on this one because of the shape. And I think the shape is important because this is a type of craft that has been seen before. Isn't that correct?
The shape of it, yes. Because there's been many sightings of, like, boomerang kind of shaped crafts. And lots of triangle shaped crafts too. But this one was more, like, triangle boomerang-y style. So it has definitely been seen a couple to many times before. I don't know about the, like, scale of it, like, being that large when they see him. When others see it, it's probably on, like, a slightly smaller scale, but not, like, that big.
So, going on, it talks about, was it a hoax? Because there is a later sighting that is confirmed to be drones, but again, those lights look far different, far smaller than the actual Phoenix lights. Plus, that guy, like they said, he couldn't hold his tongue for 12 hours. How could he hold it for so many years? And so as they keep going, they're like, what if the theory is it was all of it? Like, there was an actual UFO. The government did scramble. They were maybe doing flares or something at the UFO. So people were seeing both things. And, of course, they don't want to tell anyone else, so they come up with, it's just a training mission, Which seems possible to say, yeah, there was a UFO interaction with the military, and the government was like, nope, nothing happened. It was just a training mission.
Mm-hmm. They've done that many times before, too.
Yeah, so I think that's a brief layout of the episode. I think we went pretty in-depth, maybe more in-depth than we probably should have, just so you guys don't get spoiled, because I didn't say spoiler warning, so my bad. But now we'll go into maybe some things we learned or took away from the episode, starting with Matt. What did you learn or take away?
Like I said, I just don't trust the government. There's definitely other shit out there, and whether they want to own up to it, admit to it, like they're finally starting to do a little bit, we're not that dumb, to be like, oh, there was flares. That makes sense. We're not as redneck as you think we are there, government.
Right. Sam, what about you? What did you learn or take away from this episode?
I didn't really learn anything. What I take away from it is like a lot of people say, everybody's quick to jump to the conclusion that they're here to harm us when it was literally just sitting in the sky doing absolutely nothing, whereas if it wanted to, it could have.
Especially because it wasn't just in Phoenix. Like they say, it went over multiple states. I mean, if it wanted to. I think the thing I learned was about the fake Phoenix Lights event that happened, because I'd never heard of that one before. So that was kind of interesting. And again, it's a good example to compare. Well, it can't be drones because look at this footage, which is clearly drones, and look at the Phoenix Lights. So I think that's cool to have. And that was something I learned and took away. And
this was definitely a long time pre-drone era.
Well, maybe the government had them, but civilians didn't have them at the time. So
True.
Definitely not that they couldn't be doing what they were doing. I'm excited again to talk to Michael. We had a great conversation, but we still have so much to talk about. So I think that one is, again, going to just be an awesome episode. And to get back kind of in the UFOs, outside of Michael, we have kind of talked conspiracies and stuff, but no UFOs, so we're kind of getting back into that rhythm. And we got some more fun interviews coming up. Matt, what do you rate this, and do you recommend it?
Well, yeah, I think the History's Greatest Mysteries is a great lineup. They've got a lot of great episodes. This one was one of them, definitely check it out and give it a 10 out of 10. I mean, you can't go wrong with it.
Sam, what about you?
I definitely recommend it, and I'll probably give it a 9 out of 10, which is unusual for me, but I don't know, they were kind of being on the side of it being a potential government thing, but then also trying to put in that cover up there, but it kind of seemed like they were going along the lines of it being a government secret project or something. So it's kind of, they seemed like they were trying to push that agenda, and given that it's the History Channel, it's kind of not surprising. But other than that,
I
it
don't
was
think they were
definitely
trying
pretty decent.
to push it. Because
Kinda
they
seemed
started
that
with
way.
that idea, and then as it evolved, it turned into a real UFO.
I
that
mean,
the
kind of,
government's
but they
trying
kept
to
going
hide.
back to that theory.
Well, they have to, because it's how the event evolved.
True, I know.
Up
I
until
just saw it.
2017. I don't know, for me, I do think it's not one of the stronger episodes of History's Greatest Mysteries. I'd say a 7.5 out of 10. I wish it was more like the Roswell one, where they had more room to breathe and more episodes. Then it wouldn't feel so crammed, too many things at once. Roswell was 3 episodes, and that's one single event. And they're going super in depth in that one, and I feel like this event they could have, so just a little disappointed it was shorter. It's also not 2 hours like a normal. The Roswell one's 3 2-hour episodes. So I wish it just had a bit more room to breathe. I think that would have been better. But, at least people can hear about it, and maybe it piques some interest, and somewhere down the line, if it's not us, some other people watched it and go investigate and find something new. It's going to be us, but just in case it isn't. But yeah, until next time, guys, that's our review. Like I said, we'll be having Michael Carter back on our show. Super excited for the opportunity once again. To see more Culz reviews, though, click that link over Matt's face. For more about what we're doing here at Culz Paranormal, click that link over Sam. And don't forget to hit that like and give us a
Subscribe.
And switch that notification bell from personalized to all if you want to be notified on all of our videos.
And let us know. As far as I know, this is the only big documentary on the Phoenix Lights, but do you know of another one?